Good evening. My name is Danny Sargent, and this evening I'll be providing a presentation on Coca-Cola and a recent situation they experienced with a training program. So recently Coca-Cola engaged in an employee diversity training program. This program was seen as an internal employee training program within the company structure. And recently it has generated controversy and negative publicity. The training course was originally meant to teach diversity and inclusion to Coca-Cola's workforce. However, portions of the training were found to be controversial. After it had been used as part of Coca-Cola's company employee training offerings, an insider whistleblower leaked screenshots to the news media of the training, which in effect urged white employees to be less white. Coca-Cola subsequently released a statement acknowledging the training and that it was indeed offered to their employees, but they insisted it was not mandatory, and there was a general lack of apology for the content. So obviously the racist tones of the training definitely seems to have had an impact on Coca-Cola's sales. And has damaged their brand image. And so this situation has also damaged Coca-Cola's reputation for social responsibility and their ability to effectively manage their workforce. So here we want to take a look at the workforce impacts of this training program. So the ability of an organization to connect with their workforce is a critical component of company culture. So through this training program, Coca-Cola has risked alienating their workforce as the training separates individuals into categories and seems to suggest that white employees are somehow responsible for racism, which may exist in the company culture and in the world at large. This type of training risks disenfranchising a sizable subsection of Coca-Cola's workforce. This type of training also risks inspiring a strong negative culture as certain employee groups may feel alienated by management. And this may lead to management facing a culture of mistrust, which in turn can make it difficult to get employees to adopt and drive the tenets of the overall company culture throughout the organization. So in this slide we want to take a look at some of the public relations aspects of this training program and the fact that it's now become public. So overall, a company like Coca-Cola, their public image is critical to their sales. Recent surveys have found that basically customers are more likely to purchase goods and services from a company which reflects their own values. Singling out a group of individuals based on their race is contrary to the tenets of diversity and inclusion. So this can definitely hurt Coca-Cola in the public space. Recent research has also shown that modern U.S. consumers are acutely aware of social issues and tend to support companies which provide a fair and inclusive structure. So as a result of this training program going public, Coca-Cola sales have dropped substantially, and LinkedIn was the original platform that offered the training, and since this has become public, they have basically pulled that training program from their offerings. So here we want to take a look at some more of the unintended consequences of this training program. So if Coca-Cola does not make an effort to fix this public and employee relations situation, they can expect damage to their brand. They could additionally see continued decline in their sales. Loss of sales could potentially lead to a permanent loss in market share as their industry is highly competitive. The company's culture can also be impacted negatively, as over time employees may lose confidence in their management team. And employees who do not trust their leaders have been shown to be less engaged and overall less productive. So here we want to take a look at some of the tenets of conscious capitalism. So if we were to look at the situation through the lens of conscious capitalism, we can see here basically the 4 stages or the 4 steps to obtaining a conscious culture within an organization. This chart represents the 4 stages. The tenets of conscious capitalism require employers to make decisions based on what is best for all stakeholders that are connected to the organization, and that would include the employees in this case. And so overall, Coca-Cola needs to review their training requirements to ensure they are inclusive of all employees regardless of race. Here we have a slide, excuse me, which shows the Dr. Cotter's 8-step model for instituting change within an organization. So, as we move through the 8 steps, we're wanting to create a sense of urgency by relaying declining sales figures to upper management and those who are responsible for building and administrating the employee training program to make them understand how dire the situation is. Inside the organization, we want to build a coalition of individuals who can effect the necessary changes to the training program. We want to form a vision for how the changes can be implemented and the benefits of doing so. We want to enlist a volunteer army of employees who can take the vision forward to the masses and generate buy-in and excitement. We want to empower them to achieve success. We want to institute change across the organization and ensure that future training programs are aligned with company culture and values. We want to enable action by removing barriers to success. In this case, barriers can include financial hurdles, which will be necessary to overcome to ensure the vision can be fully realized. Furthermore, barriers can include staff and or content providers who were involved with the original training program. If they decide not to support the vision related to the necessary changes to the training program, that barrier needs to be removed. We also need to pursue short-term wins as the vision begins to take root within the organization. And we want to communicate the improvements effectively to staff so that we receive additional buy-in as progress is underway. And then finally, we want to institute change by sustaining acceleration, by periodically reviewing the program for success and adjusting tactics as necessary to ensure that it's successful. So, along with Dr. Cotter's 8-step plan, we're going to further have an action plan. So we know that to effect lasting change, employees are going to need to be engaged in the process. We need to be prepared to build a team from scratch if current values are not aligned. We know that communication is going to be key to achieving success with this endeavor. Stakeholder orientation is going to be critically important to ensure that all voices are heard and that the changes are well communicated. And inclusion and diversity will provide a stronger, more capable workforce. So potential hurdles to this plan, we could potentially damage employee confidence in management through prior actions. So we know obviously that with the steps that we're taking, we're going to need to sort of play catch up and kind of rebuild the trust between management and employees. So we need to understand the root of this problem may lie within the actual culture of the company. So that may make changes slower and more difficult if we have to actually get in and change the culture to fix this issue. Another hurdle could be we need to make sure that employees are on board with the changes and supportive of the new direction. So we need to ensure that we get employee buy-in. Best way to do that is ensure that they're involved in the process from the very beginning. And we also need to understand that declining sales and loss of market share may overall have an impact on Coca-Cola's overall budget. And so that may impact our ability to basically get funds for this training program change. So on the next slide here, we see a chart which shows the interdependencies between profitability and how employee morale, training, public relations, and culture all feed into and are reliant on profitability. And so this is really important to make everyone in the organization understand, particularly upper management. And so, we can use this to basically ensure that we have upper management support, both financially and culture support if we need to make changes, basically to affect change in the training program. So in conclusion, we've examined a current real-world company crisis with Coca-Cola. We've reviewed steps for how the situation can be resolved. We've seen how the tenets of conscious capitalism and stakeholder involvement are key pieces of the plan to fix Coca-Cola's company and public relation issues. In addition, we've reviewed Cotter's 8-step change management program and how we can further use that to implement a plan to help Coca-Cola fix their training program. So based on the decline in sales and the overall position of the company, we understand at this point that failure is not an option. So we would like to move forward with this as soon as possible. Thank you.